G'day guys, Carl from HGT Travel. Today, big girl, garage, usual stuff. Stage 2, audio upgrades. So we didn't last long with this. Here it is. I've decided, active sub. Didn't want to put it under the floor, but it's going under there. This should be pretty straightforward. This is a 10-inch sub, amplifier all built in. High and low level inputs. Obviously we don't have RCA outputs on the back of the factory head unit, so hopefully we're going to tap into the back speakers for signal, but we'll see what happens. I'll pre-wire this, see if it works. If it works, then we'll mount it. The biggest thing is I didn't want to put it under the floor because, well, it's going to rattle. It's going to vibrate. It's going to drive me nuts. So floor's coming out. I've got some foam. I'm going to put foam around all the edges of the floor and hopefully that'll dampen the vibration. The reason I bought the DB Drive WDX is it was the slimmest active sub I could find. And as you can see, it is a very tight fit. So with a little bit of luck, we can make this work. We're going to have a go anyway. Not much to this thing at all. It's a 10-inch sub in like a cast alloy enclosure. All the amplifier controls on the side. So it should be as simple as power, ground. High level input will be that one there. Depending what we do with the rest of the speakers, we may eventually end up with a high-low level converter and we will run RCAs. Being a sub, it doesn't need clearest audio. It just needs to doof, doof, doof. So this should work, hopefully. Just got a Aero Pro wiring kit. The reason I got this specific kit is because it comes with a heap of speaker wire, and obviously I need speaker wire to get that high level input. First step, get the wires out, get them untangled, get them sorted out. Little orange wire, that'll be a remote to tell the amp when to turn on. Little white wire is going to be earth, blue wire power, and then obviously the green wire is all just the speaker wire. RCAs, we'll set them aside. We don't need them for now until we get the high-low converter. Then we'll just mock this up, get some power, get an earth to it, and see if we can make it actually make some noises. Captive nut in here. So I'm just going to use that point for the earth. I've got my mock up, got the earth done, got the speaker lines, already pulled that door apart. Make sure I just ran it roughly where it's going to go. Like I say, I don't want to put any of this tidy under panels just yet. We'll make sure we can get noise out of it, make sure we can make it work. Highly level adapter. 2 negatives, 2 positives. Obviously positive and negative for each speaker wire, which is going to send the amp the signal. And we're just going to use some crimp connectors. Alrighty, we got power. Now let's see if we got signal. This is about as ghetto as it comes for me. I've just got a little loop wire on the remote to the power just so it knows to turn on. Speaker wires are literally just grafted into the back speakers. Earth's in place. Let's turn this on and see what happens. My dodgy mock-up worked. We got sound of the sub. We got noise. We got it tuned, I think pretty reasonable just by ear. Look, it's not as hard-hitting as a 10-inch sub in a box, but you know what? It's better than nothing. So now, the fun part. To strip all this wiring, pull the floor out, foam the floor, get the sub under, and then we'll get it mounted in. I pulled the false floor out. So you can see that's the lip that it sits on along the back. Along the sides, obviously that'll rattle. That's where it contacts on this plate on the back. I've just cleaned it up with some methane. Got my foam. So we'll put this foam on and hopefully that'll help with vibration from the sub. We've got sticky foam around the edges. That'll sit better once the lid sits on it. All wired, bolted in place. You definitely couldn't go any bigger, especially with the false floor, how I've done it. I'm still thinking we're gonna have to port the lid, but we'll get this floor bolted in and then we'll see how it goes. But for the most part, she's back together. I had to pull a lot more of my car apart than what I wanted to, but we got there in the end. So I'm not going to go too much into detail with the wiring. It is all pretty straightforward. So power cable through to the battery, ground to the point in the back, remote for the amp. All I did is I've got an adder fuse that I run my two-way off. So when you turn the car on and off, that drops power. So that I just use as a remote for the amp, so when you turn the car on, the amp turns on. When you turn it off, she turns off. Like I said, I had bridged into the speaker wire on the doors. Look, it was a bit of a mission, a bit of a pain in the ass. The main reason I did that is I just didn't want to cut into the factory harness. Now, going to use the same music from my first speakers.
I'm gonna turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.
So it's It's not earth-shattering bass. Well, rattle-wise, the foam worked. That's not too bad at all. It's good noise. It's not hard hitting, punchy bass. Like it's nowhere near as good as 212s in a box, but it's still, for the limited space I had, it's an unreal improvement. I kind of like it. I'll show you why I'm sitting in the passenger seat too. So we've got a sub-level switch here, so you can control the bass, so you can actually turn it, wind it all the way down and turn it off if you don't want it on. Now I'll be honest, when I was younger I never understood why anyone would want to turn their bass down. Now I'm older and I mount the fridge and things like that over here. If you don't want the sub vibrating the shit out of the fridge, you can turn it down. My sound dampening on the floor, whilst it's not perfect, it's worked. So a little bit of foam, it doesn't rattle or vibrate, nothing like my old little P-plate automobiles used to. For a sub I didn't want to mount under the floor. I am quite happy with it, I like it. Definitely works well with the speakers, so I think I'm happy. The other thing worth mentioning is all the sound tests, audio tests, filmed on GoPro, no external mic, and of course it'll all depend on what you listen to as to how it sounds, so headphones, good speakers, etc. The usual spiel. So if you listen to it on your phone, it won't sound any good. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Anything, feel free to comment below. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. And until next time, go travel.